Hello and welcome to ATech. My name is Akshay and today we will learn methods in C# as well as we will see static and instance members in C#. These are the contents we will be discussing in today's tutorial, that is methods in C#, static and instance members in C#, static and this keyword in C#. First of all, let's understand what is method. Method is also called as function. They are used interchangeably. Sometimes we call them as functions. So these having a single unit which can be reusable anywhere in the application. Okay, so once written, it can be used anywhere in the application, and also it depends on the scope of the method. So what is the scope of method? That is, if you make your method as a public, so it can be accessed anywhere outside the class. Okay, so that was the meaning of scope of the method. Okay, now method can have or is made up of these many things that you can see here. That is these 7 things. That is, first is attribute, that also we can call as a metadata, and second, that is access modifier, third is a keyword, fourth is a return type, 5 is a method name, 6 method parameters, 7 method body. Now combining all this together, our method will look something like this. So this attribute that will be on the top of the method, and why these attributes are used, it provides some more information what this method is doing. Okay, so everything we will see in action, so don't worry about that. And as you can see, first will be access modifier, after that keyword if any. Okay, so even though access modifier is also optional, okay, as well as keyword is also optional, but if there is a need, we use them, and why and when, we will see all that in action, so don't worry about that. After that comes a return type. After that there is a method name, you can choose any, and in parenthesis we use method parameters, and after that we have a body, and in that we put our code that we want to reuse. Okay, and as I have told you, these are optional things, so that is access modifier, keyword, so depending on the condition and requirements we use them. Otherwise our method will only can have return type, a method name, and a simple body. So let's look at them into action. So it is a console application, simple console application we have been using. I will get rid of these extra namespaces. Okay, now as I have told you in my very first tutorial of this tutorial series, that is introduction to C#, why we use this main method. So this is also we can call as a method. So now as you can see, this static, this is nothing but a keyword, and if you put public in front of it, so this is nothing but an access modifier. Okay, so this is an access modifier, a keyword, a return type of your method, a method name, these are the parameter, and this is your body, and whatever you code you want to return, you can return inside this. Okay, so if I write something like this, console dot write line maybe, and if I want to print some message, hello, and if I run, so it is printing our message, that is hello. So this is nothing but a simple method we can say, but don't worry, we will take a separate method. This is just I have make you understand that already there were a method, that is a main method, so this is nothing but a keyword, this is nothing but an access modifier. So let's just create another method, don't worry. So we will keep that as it is, as it was before. Okay, and I will delete this as well. Let's just create another method. Let's just take a return type as a string, and a method name will be show details. And as I have told you, those and you have to return something, because it is returning something, that is your return type is string, so you have to return a string. So if I write hello from show details, let me correct that, details. Okay, And this is also a method, as I have told you, as I have shown you on the slide, something like this. This is also your method. All these access modifier, this attribute, this keyword, even method parameters are optional. You can use them depending on the requirement and depending on the conditions, that what kind of a method we are using, what kind of a method we are defining. Okay. So again, again I have told you and I have shown you on the slide that methods are reusable. So how we can reuse them? If I call this method like here in the main method like this, that is a method name and parenthesis in front of them and a semicolon. So it is how, so that is how you can call a method as well. I can take one variable of type string, something like this, and I can give a name. Okay, sorry, I can give a name like message, and in that I have to, and in that I will store this method. We know at the time when we have learned what is classes, what is structure, so at that time we have learned that if this method is if this method is in this class and inside this class, then to access this method we have to create an object of that class. So directly you cannot call that. So for that I have to create first an object of that class. Okay, and how we create object? Program P equal to new program, like this. And now on the object I will be able to call that method like this, and I will show you. And all these things I have explained you in my previous tutorial of this tutorial series. So if you guys have not watched that, so please watch that first in order to understand this better. Okay, as soon as I have typed dot, it is showing all the methods it can access of this class. Now you might be wondering where this equal method, this get hashcode, get type and etc. method are coming from. So that also I have explained, because every type in C# coming from that object class, and that object class is providing to every type all this method, that is this common method, that is equal get hashcode. Okay, so I have explained that all things in my previous tutorials, so please check that out. And if I use p dot show details and something like this, and now we are creating this method here and we are calling that in here. Okay, so basically we are writing that once and using that here, and not here only, but you can use that as many times as you want. Okay, so but I will try to print that first. So whatever message we are getting, I will type console dot write line, and I will take that message and keep that inside this constructor of write line method, and I will print that. Okay, so it is printing our message, that is hello from show details. Now let's just try to use those extra things, that is access modifier, keywords, attributes, etc. Okay, so I will make this method as a public. So as soon as I make this method public, so this will be accessible outside this class. Okay, so to prove that, what I will do, I will just delete this message, or I will cut this message, or I will cut this method from here, and I will take another class like this, and I will name that as a test, and I will keep the method inside that class. Okay, and now we know this method is inside this class, so we have to make an object of this class, that is test. So what I will do, test t is equal to new test, and instead of p I will use t here, and if I run this, so it is printing our message. But to show you that if I would not have used that public in front of that return type, then it should not have let us access this method outside this class. So that's what it is doing. So it is throwing an error. What it says is inaccessible due to protection level. Now by default this method will be private. So as soon as I will make that public, and it will be good to go. So it is not throwing an error. So again, don't worry about these access modifiers. We will be learning in a very great detail about them, that is private, public, internal, and every other access modifiers. But to show you that, just I have gave you one example of a public, and again what I have told you, after that we can put any keyword also. So if I make this method static, that is this static is one keyword. So if I make this method as a static, so again it is throwing an error. And why? Because as soon as you make that method as a static, it will be no longer accessed by the object, but it will be directly accessible on class. So we will see that in a very great detail. Don't worry, just I want to show you what keyword is. So that's why I will use, instead of T, I will use directly a class name. Instead of the object, I will use directly a class name. So on that class name, you can call this method, because this method is a public, because this method is a static. So that is why. And don't worry, we will learn what is static, because we will be discussing today what are the static and instance member in C#. Okay, so don't worry about that. But for now, this is your access modifier, this is a keyword, return type, method name, and this is your body of your method, and you can reuse that anywhere you want to. Like I can call that thousands of times if I want, test dot show details, like this, and nobody will stop us. Okay, so like that, just once define your method and use it as many times as you want in your application. So it will make your code reusable. That was the method or a function gives us advantage in application. Okay, now we have learned what is access modifier, keyword. Basically we have seen how we can use access modifier, keyword, return type, method name, as well as method body. Now we will see how we can use a method parameters as well as attributes. So I will show you that. Now again, don't worry about what are the attributes. That also we will be learning in a very great detail in a later videos. So don't worry about that. But for now, attribute, as soon as you make an attribute or provide an attribute for your method or your fields, or even a class can have an attribute. Okay, so what does this tells? This just shows more information about your method. Now what is this STA thread attribute is doing? It is indicating that your method is accessible to the threads at a time, means no multiple threads can access this method at a single time. So don't worry about that. What is this STA thread? Threading also we will be learning in very great detail, and don't worry about what are the attributes, also we will learn them. So but for now, this is your attribute. You can define an attribute about your method, about your class. If I make my class as a serializable like this, so this is how you can use an attribute about a class as well. So don't worry about the serializable as well, but just focus on the concept. We will be learning all of these things in our later videos, so don't worry. But coming back to this concept, again we can have a method parameters inside our methods. And why we use method parameters? If you want to take some input from your user instead of you providing them, so at that time method parameters are very useful. So how we'll see them, and I will get rid of this for now, as we have understood what is this attribute. Okay, and we will learning them in a very great detail. Don't worry about them. What I will do, I will create one method, and I will make that as a public, and let me take a return type as a int. And what I will do, I will take a method name as a addition of 2 number. Okay, and what I will do, I will take 2 integers only, not a float or maybe double, but let's take an integer. Let's take a very simple example. Okay, integer value 1 and integer type value 2. Okay, and inside that what we will do, we will return addition of these two numbers. So whatever number that will be coming inside our method through these parameters, we will take them like this and add them and return them. So we know it will return the addition of value 1 plus value 2, and as our return type is int, so it will return that addition. And in console and in main method, what I will do, I will take those parameters, those user inputs from the console. So how we can do that? Let's just take int value first to just make a difference between this parameter and this variable. I will take this variable name as a value first, okay, and before that also we can give a message onto the console. So if you want your user to prompt something like this, enter first number to add maybe, and after that what you can do, you can read whatever the input user is entering onto the console. And how we can do that? We have learned all these things in our very first tutorial of this series. So if you don't aware about this, just check that video if you are a beginner. So how we can read console screen, how we can take an input from the console like this, and we know this is giving a string and we are taking and we are converting that to integer. So data type conversion also we have learned. So for that we have to do something like this. We have to just cast that to the integer. If this casting doesn't work, we know we can do something like this, int parse, and pass that string from the console. And again just prompt write line for the second number, enter second number to add, okay, and take that into another variable, value second equal to, and we will repeat that. We will parse that string whatever coming from that console. And what we will do, we will take another console dot write line and addition equals so before that, now we know this method is inside this test class, so we know we have to make an object of that class, something like this, and I will get rid of this code because we don't need this. Test t equal to new test, and now we know on this object we can call that method that is present inside that class, that is this addition of two numbers. So and again we know that method is returning integer, the addition of two numbers, which is integer only. So we will take one variable of type integer, that is result, and is equal to, on that object I will call that method, and inside that whatever you getting from the user from the console, we will pass that to this method, because we know if you hover your mouse here, you can see here this method is accepting two parameters, that is value 1 and value 2, and will return a int, that is result. So we will pass that value to this method, that is value first and value second, like this, and we will print that result like this. And we have learned string concatenation also in this tutorial series. So if you don't aware about that, just check previous videos of this tutorial series, that is the string type in C#. So coming back to this video, I will run this. Okay, so this console screen is prompting one message, that is enter first number to add. Now in this case we are the user, let's say we are the user. Okay, and I am entering a number that is 50, and I will press enter, and it will prompt me to add one another number. Let me take 100 as a number, and we know 100 plus 50 will be 150, and it should give us a result that is 150. So let's see, if I press enter, so addition is equal to 150. So this program is working as expected. Okay, so that is how you can use parameters inside your methods, and you can use them like if you want to take user inputs from the console. But this is a very simple example. We can use method parameters like for many things in our application. So but that will be a very advanced level, but we know at the beginning this will be enough to understand how method parameters works in the methods. So that is why I have taken this simple example to make you guys understand what is method parameters in methods and what is the methods. Okay, so now we know what is methods. Now let's see what are the static and instance members in C#. Now what it says, static members, that is fields, properties, methods, etc. that are marked as static using static keyword are called as static member. Now what does that mean? We will see them in an action, don't worry, just read these things. So second point, what it says, static members are called using type name and are stored on the static memory. So what is the static memory? So till now I have told you guys that there are two memories, that is stack and a heap. So local variable that are stored onto stack, and we know objects are get stored into heap, and in C# we also call it as a managed heap. So now what is the static memory? So for that we will see that. Let's just see this diagram. Now we know this is a stack, and we know all the local variables get stored here, and on this heap all the objects are there. So now whatever static members that are present into your type, and here for example class is our type, so in class if there are any static members, so that will get stored onto this static memory. That is a static section of a memory. There is a section of a static, there is a section on the memory which is called as static memory. So on that static members will get stored, and that is a global variable storage. So why it is called as a global variable storage, that we will understand, don't worry about that for now. And also it is a permanent for entire program run, that also we will see, don't worry about that. Let's just quickly go back to our slide, that is a static and instance member. So again, second, that is instance member, what it says, fields, properties, methods, etc. not having a static keyword in front of them are called as instance member. Instance members are called using object of a type and are stored locally, that is on a stack. So let's just quickly see one example so you guys will understand what is static members and instance member. So for that, let's just switch to Visual Studio, and what I will do, I will just get rid of all this code from here, and I will delete that as well, and let's just take a fresh class, okay, and name it as employee, maybe employee, and let's just have fields inside this, private string name and private int age. Okay, and let's just have a method, a public method, which will return or which will print a name of that employee, print name, like this, and that will be void. So I have to take void because it will return nothing, because it will not return anything, and it will just print one simple console message, onto the console.writeLine, that is the name of an employee. Now we know why this name, we can access that directly into this method. This is also we have learned in a previous video of this tutorial series. All this we have learned, what is class, what is these private and public fields. So for that, just check that video out, because you will not understand this better, because I will not gonna repeat that all those concepts in this video tutorial. Okay, so for that, now let's just have one constructor. Now again, what are the constructor we have seen already, and we know the constructor has the same name as their class name. And what this constructor will do, it will take a string name and it will store whatever that name coming from the user input, or maybe into the constructor of this employee, so that we will store inside our field, that is this name. Now here, how will you identify the name that is coming from here is different, and the property name or the field name that you have taken in this class is different. So for that, there is a keyword, that is this keyword, and this keyword says or denotes or refers to the current object of your type. That is, in this case we have this class employee, so this is referring to the object of this class. So in simple case, what I can do, what we can say, that if you do something like this, so what we generally do to create our object, employee emp is equal to new employee, something like this. So this keyword is nothing but your emp, your object. So I know that this will give an error to here itself, because we know in the same class we are creating an object. We know that doesn't make any sense, but for the example I have shown you. So that keyword, that is this keyword, is referring to the current object of your class. Now we know an object and a type or this class can have many objects. So this keyword is returning to the current object of your class. So that is how you can differentiate. This is your property of this object of this class, and you are making and you are storing this name which is coming from this constructor in this your field, okay. So that is what this keyword is doing, okay. Now what I will do, I will go here in a static void main method and create an object of your employee class, okay, like this. And it will give an error, because why? We have provided one constructor which is expecting a string as a parameter, so that is why. And we know if we don't provide any constructor, the compiler will provide one, and all this concept we have learned in a previous video of this tutorial series. So please check that out to understand this better. Now we have to provide a name here. Let me take a name that is Akshay, okay. And now we know this method. So here there is a differentiation. You can see it is your instance method. This method you can call as your instance method, as well as these fields are instance field, as well as what everything you can call this as your instance members. So we know whatever that instance members are, we can call them using object like this, okay. So this print name, you can see, you can call that print name onto this object. And why these fields are not accessible? Because we kept them as a private, and we have seen that before also. Why me make that private, okay. So if I call that print name method here and I will run this, it should run, okay. Now what are static members of in your type or in your class? So why I called class is a type, because why every time I refer to the type instead of class? Because object you can create of a struct as well, okay. So we know, because if we would have taken an example of a struct, so this is also possible, we know, okay. And why it is giving error, we know, because struct don't allow an initialization in here itself, okay. And why we have seen that, but so that is why I referred instead of class as a type, okay. So sorry, a class, we are taking an example of a class, so okay. On the types object we can call instance member, but if you make your members as a static like this, so they are no longer accessible. Okay, sorry, this is a constructor I have make static. I want to make a field or a method as a static. Okay, like this. As soon as I make this as a static, this method of yours will no longer be accessible from this object of your type, that is your class employee. Why? Because all of the static members that are present inside this class, that will get stored separately onto the static memory, and every static members of your class will be shared by your object. Now what does that mean? So let me simplify that for you. Don't worry about that, but let me just make a correction. If I directly take my class here, that is employee, so that is how you can able to access that static method directly onto the class name instead of the object name. And why this error also? Because in the static method only static members are allowed, and we know this name is an instance member. So if I make this as a static, also let me make that int as a static as well. So now these are your static members. Also let me make this constructor as a static, and for static constructor we don't need access modifier, that is public. Okay, and we know because this is a static constructor, there is no need of this object, that this refers to the object. So if I do something like this, that should work. And what it says, a static constructor must be parameterless, like this. Okay, and now if you make this parameterless, so we know nothing is coming in this constructor, so we have to initialize this whatever we want to. If I initialize this as Akshay right here, like this, so this Akshay will be shared by every object of this class. So that is what I want to explain you, and I will show you to make you simplify that. To simplify that, what I will do, I will give you one example, one simple example. Okay, let me get rid of all of this. So for that to understand, let's just take a very simple example. Let's say we want to calculate area of a circle, and for that we know what is the formula for area of circle. One variable of type int, and what is that? That will be pi, and we know what is the value of pi, that is 3.14, 1 and f. What f denote? This is a float value, and for that to store inside this variable, that type should be float. Okay, like this. And again, to take r, again what we have to do, take radius, that is int r. Let's just not initialize that, let's just take that as it is because we want to use that. And let's just have one method which will calculate our area of circle. Public void calculate area of circle. And let's just give two parameters to this. Okay, one, we know this will require a float value, that is a pi value, float pi, and we know again it will require the radius. So let's just take int radius, and we know what is the formula for calculating the area of circle, that is pi into r square, that is radius square. So for for that to work as a square, we will multiply that twice, that is radius into radius, like this. Okay, and why it is giving an error? Because we are returning, so we don't have to return because we have taken this method as a void. So we will directly show that to the console. Console dot write line, whatever the result, and like this, and I will just call this method using this employee object like this. So first we have to make an object of that employee class like this. New employee. So on this emp I will call that method, that is calculate area of circle, and we know we have to pass two parameters, that is one as a one, that is this pi value, and second, that is the radius value. So we know what is the pi value, that is 3.141 3.14, okay, 3.141, okay, and second, that is the radius. So let's just provide 10 as a radius, okay. Okay, and why I have directly given these values inside this method instead of taking them from the user from the console, to just save our time, because we already know how to take inputs from user from the console. So that is why I have directly put values inside this method. So I will run this. Okay, so what is the area of circle? 314.1. To make that look better, what I will do, I will print one message, that is area of circle is equal to whatever the result that will give us. Okay, area of circle is equal to 314.41. Now what I want to do, I want to calculate another area of a circle with different radius value, but the pi value will not be different, because we know the pi value will always be a 3.14f. That is a constant value, that is a predefined value for pi, we know that. So I want to just make a different radius, so pi value will be same, that is 3.141f, and comma, I want to make radius this time as a 20. Okay, and now I want to print that. Okay, so this is the first area of circle with radius 10, and this is the second area of circle with radius 20. But if you guys have carefully seen, or if you guys have noticed, both the time we have to use this same value, okay, that is pi value. This will not gonna change. Okay, so it would have been 1, but it should not gonna be changed. The change will be here only. So for that matter, what we can do, we can mark this field as a static. Like this. Okay. Okay, so when I was showing you what was the value for pi, so at that time I have initialized it already. But if I don't, then what I can do also, I can take a static constructor. So what static constructor will do inside our class or in our type, so that will initialize your static members of the class or a type like this, employee, and it should not give any parameter, because if you do so, that will throw an error. What it says, a static constructor must be parameterless. Okay, so what I will do, I will put the value inside this pi as a 3.141f. Okay, and this static constructor will initialize our static members of this class. And instead of providing this value again and again, and this is only 2 times, if you want to calculate area of a circle like thousands of times with a different radius, then every time you should not provide this same value which you know will not gonna change. It will be permanent whatever the situation. So instead of providing this hard-coded value, what I will do, I will directly take that variable, and we know that is accessible. But right now why it is not accessible? Because we know we have to make that as a public, because we know whatever you keep private inside this class, that will be not accessible outside that class. So that is why as soon as I make that public, so I will be able to access that pi. And here as well I will do the same thing, that is employee, okay, sorry, employee, okay, I have, let me get rid of this, I don't need this, employee dot pi. So it will run as it were running. Okay, and yes, I have to keep that object, because we know on this object we are calling this instance members, this instance method, because we know this is not marked as a static, so that is why this is an instance member, and for that to call we need an object. So, okay, and now if I run, that will run as it were running before, okay, like this. So it is giving us the same result, but this time we have marked that field as a static, and by making that field as a static, now what will happen, this static method will be shared by all the objects of this class that we will be create or that are present. So if I again create one object like this, employee emp1 is equal to new employee like this, and if I call that emp1 dot calculate area, so like this, and if I pass again that employee dot pi here and radius as a 5, so this object also have a same value of this static field like this object we are having. So in short, all the objects will share a same copy of this static field throughout the application. So whatever your static members are, the single copy of them, and that will be a permanent copy on which will be exist in the program, in the entire program run of your application. So that to understand better, what I will do, I will show you that onto this diagram. So what we have just seen, what we have just taken, we have created two objects. Okay, we know we have created these two objects. Now these two objects might have a separate instance of members of them. Okay, like this I will show you. Now we know there is one again field, that is this int r, which is an instance field. So if I do something like this, emp1.r, and if I want to provide any value like this, I can do that, and that is inaccessible due to its protection level. I have to make that as a public like this, and if I want to make emp.r is equal to 5, that also will be done. And if I print that onto the console like this, that is both this empr1 plus empr, and if I print that, Okay, so it have done addition of those two numbers, but I don't want the addition of those two numbers, but to show them separately, what I will do, I will have one string between both these numbers like this, and now I will print. Okay, so that is first R value, that is 20, and second, that is 5. Now if you guys understand the call by value and a call by reference concept very deeply, then you will be able to understand that this object having separate, or what we can say vice versa, this variable are holding a separate reference to the separate objects, because this is nothing but a call by value, and vice versa, this object having a separate instances of them, that is this object having a separate instance and this object is having its separate instance, but both these objects are pointing to the same, or both these objects are having a same copy of a static member. So whatever you define static in your type, that will be gets shared, or what we can say, a single copy, a same copy of that will be shared by as many objects you created, or many objects, or whatever number of objects your type has, that will share this single copy of your static member. So if you guys understand what is static member and instance member, so if you can see here onto the stack, this is a local variable storage. We have understand this before as well. Okay, and this is automatic memory. We know the object, we know the destruction of memory and allocation of memory is automatic in this. And now what is this contiguous memory? Why this stack is called as a contiguous memory? Because this stack allocates a memory for the process in a contiguous format, that is in a continuous manner. But in contrast, what this heap memory does, it provides memory for your process in a non-contiguous format, that is in a non-continuous format, that is that process will be divided and that will be kept inside your heap in whatever dispersed format it can have, or whatever spaces it is remaining with. Okay, but don't worry, this is a part of data structure. So if you guys want to learn a data structure, I will be posting videos on that too later on, so don't worry about that. But coming back to this video, and in this static memory, it is a global variable storage, because we know whatever you keep as a static, that will be a single copy for all of its instances, that will be shared by all of the instances throughout the program, and that is why it is called as a global variable. And also it is a permanent for entire program, that what I have just told you. Okay, so that is your memory distribution for static and instance variable as well as an object. Okay, so that will be get stored on this heap. Now we have already learned all this stack and heap memory in our previous tutorial, so please check that out if you don't aware about that, if you guys not aware about that. So but here, this is your static memory. There is a section on the memory, that is a static, onto which whatever your static members are, that will get stored onto that memory. Okay, so let's just quickly see the summary. What it says: methods are very useful in maintaining application and reducing code repetition because of their reusable nature. I have shown you that if you write a method once, that you can use many times in your application. Okay, the second point, that is method parameters are very helpful when we want to take values from user interface and can perform certain operations and can return a result to the user. This keyword refers to the current instance of the type. That also we have shown, that also we have discussed, that is this refers to the current object of your type. And why I refer always a type and not a class, because object can be created from struct as well, so that is also a type. So that is why I am not specific about a type. So this keyword refers to the current instance of the type, that is why. So fourth point, that is static constructor are used to initialize static members, that we have seen. And it is not necessary that you have to provide a static constructor, because we know if you don't provide any constructor, the compiler will provide a constructor, that is the default constructor. And again, there is a very important point, that is this fifth point. And before that, let me complete that point. The static constructors are used to initialize static members of the class or the type and are called only once in a program. Okay, so for that to understand, I will give you one example. Also what it says, Also static constructor gets called before instance constructor. So for that, let's just take one example. We know this is our static constructor. Let me take another constructor, that is instance constructor. Okay, like this. And what I will do, I will take integer parameter, that is r, and whatever coming in this constructor, I will store that into this field, that is this dot r is equal to r, like this. And the program will be same, but what I will do, I will just print one method. I will just print one message. What? That is console dot writeLine static constructor invoked, as well as I will need one message here as well, that is console dot writeLine and message will be instance constructor invoked. Okay, and what I will do, now we know we have an instance constructor, so we have to pass that value here. Let me take a value as a radius as a 10, and for this second object, what I will pass as a 20. And just get rid of this code. So what we have done, we have created one object and we have passed 10, that is we know it will get initialized that to this field, that is r, that is radius. And let me pass, and what I will do, I will just get rid of this. I will not take this as a parameter. I will directly take that pi and that radius, because we know this is accessible because this is in a same class. So instead of that radius, I will take directly r, and we know that will calculate the area of a circle, and we don't need to worry about this here, because we are already passing the values inside this constructor, and one value, that is this pi value, we have passed that into this static constructor. So let me make that correctly. Let me put that line after this, so we will understand that better. And I will print that. Let's say what happened. As you can see here, static constructors invoked, second instance constructor invoked, another instance constructor invoked, and it has calculated the area of circle for both. Okay, so it have calculated both the time for this EMP, because we have every time we have called both the time we have called that EMP. I have to make that as EMP1, and I will run that again. Okay, so static constructor invoked, instance constructor is invoked 2 times, and it has calculated both the area of circle, which we have passed the radius, that is first time that is 10 and second time that is 20. But if you have carefully seen here, if you guys have noticed, static constructor gets called only once. So that proves our point. What it says, static constructors are used to initialize static member of the class and are called only once in a program. Okay, so whatever times you create an object, every time that object, that is instance constructor, will get called, but static constructor will only get called once in a program. And what it says also, static constructor gets called before instance constructor, and that also we have proved here, because we have not given any order to make this execute. Okay, if you guys might be wondering, I have not done anything. I am just creating one object here of type EMP, of type employee and another object of type employee, but I have never given any order in which order it should execute. Neither I have invoked this static constructor manually, and that also proves this static construct to invoke, we don't need this new keyword, as we have learned in previous tutorial, that the constructor to invoke, we have to create the object, that is, as soon as you type this new, create this object, the constructor gets invoked. But we know this static constructor doesn't need to get invoked on this object, because that does make a very sense, because these static members get stored onto the static memory, and these objects are, and the class or a type can have many objects, but the static members, that will be only a single copy throughout the program. So that is why there is no need to create this new in order to invoke this static constructor. Okay, so that proves the point. Let me take another object. Okay, so if I take another object, emp2 is equal to new employee, and I will pass 5 as my value, radius, and I will invoke method another one time. Okay, that is emp2 calculate area of a circle, and I will print that, and let's just see what happens. See, it is only invoking that static constructor only once, and also before every instance constructor. So that proves both the point. And the last point, what it says, static members get stored in static section of a memory, and all other members can share those static members, that is the same and a single copy of those members. And I have shown you that here. So this is the example that I have shown you earlier, and that what this summary point is telling. So that's it for today, and we will meet on our next part of this tutorial series. So till then, stay tuned and thank you.